The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, 1990, cast reveals what most fans never figured out. They smiled. They danced. They made America laugh for 6 unforgettable years. But behind the perfect Banks family mansion, a storm was quietly tearing them apart. One star was hiding a $2.8 million secret that could have ended his career before it ever began. One woman was silently crying through every scene while the world thought she had it all. And a 27-year feud was about to explode into the most painful Hollywood fallout you've never been told about. What truly happened inside the walls of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? Stay until the very end, because the truth will leave you speechless. Welcome to Remembered Lives channel. Hit subscribe, tap the bell, and drop a comment telling us which Banks family member shaped your childhood the most. Will Smith. Will Smith, the Fresh Prince. What most fans never figured out about the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is that the entire show existed for one shocking reason. Will Smith was financially drowning. By 1990, the 21-year-old Grammy-winning rapper, who had soared to fame alongside DJ Jazzy Jeff with hits like Parents Just Don't Understand and Girls Ain't Nothing But Trouble, found himself crushed under a $2.8 million tax debt to the IRS. He had spent recklessly on luxury cars, designer clothes, and mansions, never bothering to pay income taxes from 1988 to 1989. The IRS seized his assets, garnished his earnings, and pushed him to the edge of bankruptcy. Then came the lifeline. At a party hosted by music manager Benny Medina, legendary producer Quincy Jones spotted Smith and, without warning, demanded an audition right there in his living room. Smith, who had never acted before, performed cold in front of NBC executives and landed the role on the spot. But the deal was brutal. For the first 3 seasons, the IRS took 70% of every paycheck he earned. He later admitted on 60 Minutes that being famous and broke at the same time was the worst combination imaginable, because strangers would recognize him while he sat next to them on the bus. Hidden in the early episodes is proof of his inexperience. Smith can be visibly seen mouthing his co-stars' lines, having memorized the entire script out of fear. By the end of season 3, he had paid off the IRS completely and reached financial zero. From that desperate gamble grew a global empire spanning Independence Day, Men in Black, Bad Boys, I Am Legend, Aladdin, and an Academy Award for King Richard. Today, his estimated net worth sits around $350 million, all because one party changed everything. James Avery, Philip Banks, Uncle Phil. Behind the booming voice and towering presence of Uncle Phil stood a man whose real life was far more remarkable than the character viewers adored. James Avery, born in Pughesville, Virginia in 1945, served as a United States Navy sailor during the Vietnam War before pivoting to poetry, screenwriting, and eventually the stage. Standing at 6 feet 4 inches and trained in classical Shakespearean performance at the University of California, San Diego, Avery brought a gravitas to the Banks household that no other actor could have delivered. His very first encounter with Will Smith became the stuff of legend. At the audition, Smith was lounging with his feet propped on a table, hat tilted sideways, oozing rapper confidence. Avery, a complete stranger at the time, walked over and firmly told the young rapper to put his feet down and turn his cap around. Smith obeyed instantly. From that moment forward, the dynamic was sealed. Smith later confessed he spent the entire 6-season run desperately wanting Avery's approval, describing him as a Shakespearean beast whose presence terrified and inspired him in equal measure. Off camera, Avery was a mentor and second father to the entire cast, particularly Alfonso Ribeiro, who openly wept while speaking about him at his funeral. Beyond Bel-Air, Avery voiced Shredder in the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles animated series, a role that made him a hero to a completely different generation of kids. He also appeared in films like Fletch, The Brady Bunch movie, and Let's Stay Together. Tragically, Avery passed away on December 31, 2013, at age 68 from complications following open-heart surgery. His death left an unfillable hole at the 2020 HBO Max reunion, where every surviving cast member paid emotional tribute to the patriarch whose love anchored their on-screen and off-screen family forever. Janet Hubert, Vivian Banks, Aunt Viv. For 3 seasons, Janet Hubert was the soul of the Banks family. A Juilliard-trained dancer who had performed on Broadway in productions like Cats and The Tap Dance Kid, Hubert brought a fierce intelligence and regal elegance to the role of Vivian Banks, a college professor with a PhD who refused to shrink behind any man. But behind that powerful performance, a private nightmare was unfolding that nobody on set understood. During season 3, Hubert was trapped in what she later described as an emotionally and physically abusive marriage. She became pregnant in 1992, and her home life left her exhausted, broken, and silently suffering. The smiling, joking colleague her castmates once knew vanished, replaced by a woman barely holding herself together. When NBC offered her a renewed contract with reduced pay, a 2.5-month shooting window, and a clause forbidding outside work, she refused. With a newborn and an unemployed husband, the deal would have destroyed her. She was let go in 1993 and replaced. What followed was devastating. Public comments from a young, frightened Will Smith painted her as difficult, and Hollywood blacklisted her almost overnight. She lost roles, lost her reputation, and as she later revealed, lost relationships with her own family members, who blamed her for tarnishing their name. For 27 long years, Hubert carried that pain in silence, while taking sporadic roles on shows like One Life to Live, where she won a Daytime Emmy nomination. Then came November 2020. On the HBO Max Fresh Prince reunion, Hubert and Smith sat face-to-face for the first time in nearly 3 decades. Tears flowed. Apologies were exchanged. Smith called her, still, my Aunt Viv. The 27-year feud finally ended, and the two now text each other regularly, building the friendship time had stolen. Daphne Maxwell Reed, Vivian Banks, Aunt Viv. Here is the secret almost no fan ever caught. The actress who eventually became the second Aunt Vivian was originally offered the role before the show ever aired in 1989, and she turned it down flat. Daphne Maxwell Reed, a Northwestern University graduate and former pioneering model who became the first African-American woman to grace the cover of Glamour magazine in 1969, simply was not interested in starring opposite a rapper with no acting credits. After watching the premiere season unfold and realizing how charming the sitcom truly was, she admitted she had made a mistake. 3 years later, fate handed her a second chance. When Janet Hubert exited in 1993, casting directors reopened auditions, and Reed sprinted back. She beat out hundreds of competitors, crediting her instant chemistry with James Avery for sealing the deal. But what viewers received was not the same Vivian Banks they had grown to love. The writers fundamentally rewrote the character, stripping away the fiery academic ambition that defined Hubert's portrayal. Reed's Aunt Viv became softer, gentler, more domestic, quitting her professorship to stay home with baby Nikki. Reed weathered decades of comparisons gracefully, always speaking respectfully of her predecessor and reminding fans that 2 different women had simply played the same name. Her career flourished elsewhere too. Long before Bel-Air, she had become the first black model on the cover of Glamour, and after the sitcom, she joined Tyler Perry's hit drama Let's Stay Together and the 2022 Peacock reboot Bel-Air as a recurring character named Janice. Married since 1982 to acclaimed actor Tim Reed of WKRP and Cincinnati fame, the couple co-founded New Millennium Studios in Virginia, one of the first Black-owned full-service film studios in the United States. Their decades-long marriage and creative partnership remain one of Hollywood's quietest love stories. Alfonso Ribeiro, Carlton Banks. Before he became television's most beloved preppy cousin, Alfonso Ribeiro was already a child star. Born in the Bronx in 1971, he danced alongside Michael Jackson in a famous 1984 Pepsi commercial at just 12 years old, then headlined the Broadway production of The Tap Dance Kid. By the time he auditioned for Tyra Banks in 1990, he was a seasoned performer who could sing, dance, and act circles around most adults in the room. His most iconic contribution, however, was completely improvised. During a third-season episode, the script simply read, "Carlton dances." With zero direction, Ribeiro had to invent something on the spot. His inspiration came from two unexpected places: a young Courtney Cox being pulled on stage by Bruce Springsteen in the 1984 music video for Dancing in the Dark, and Eddie Murphy's parody of awkward white guy moves from his 1983 comedy special, Delirious. Ribeiro fused them into what he called the corniest dance on the planet, set to Tom Jones's "It's Not Unusual." He never intended for it to be funny. That dance became a cultural earthquake. Decades later, strangers still stop him on the street demanding he perform it. The move sparked legal battles when Fortnite featured an emote inspired by it, prompting Ribeiro to pursue copyright claims in 2018. Post-Bel-Air, Ribeiro proved his versatility brilliantly. He won Season 19 of Dancing with the Stars in 2014, naturally incorporating the Carlton into his routines. He has hosted America's Funniest Home Videos since 2015 and co-hosts Dancing with the Stars as of 2022. Married to Angela Unkrich since 2012, he is a devoted father of 4. Despite the goofy character that made him famous, Ribeiro remains one of the most consistently working and respected entertainers from the original cast, beloved by colleagues as a genuine professional and family man. Parsons, Hillary Banks. The materialistic, fashion-obsessed eldest Banks daughter, who lived for shopping sprees and Valley Girl quips, was nothing like the woman who portrayed her. Parsons, born in Los Angeles in 1966, attended Santa Monica College and brought a sharp comedic timing to Hillary that nearly got rewritten out of existence. According to Parsons herself, the writers once pushed to transform Hillary into a generic, strong black woman archetype that was sweeping 1990s television. Parsons fought back, arguing that Hillary's flaws and superficiality were exactly what made her real and relatable. She won that battle, and Hillary remained delightfully, unapologetically herself. After the show wrapped in 1996, Parsons appeared in films like The Ladies' Man with Tim Meadows and the sitcom Lush Life, but by 2002, she walked away from acting entirely. What she did next stunned fans who only knew her as the shopaholic. In 2004, she founded Sweet Blackberry, a non-profit organization producing animated films and children's books that spotlight forgotten black heroes throughout history. The films feature narration from heavyweights like Queen Latifah, Chris Rock, and Alfre Woodard, and have aired on HBO and Netflix. In 2019, Parsons published her debut middle-grade novel, How High the Moon, drawn from her own mother's experiences growing up in the Jim Crow South. The book received critical acclaim and was followed by a second novel, How to Be a Goldfish, in 2024. She lives in Brooklyn with her husband, acclaimed independent filmmaker Alexander Rockwell, and their 2 children, Lana and Nico. The woman once known for playing the shallowest character on Bel-Air now dedicates her life to teaching children about Bessie Coleman, Garrett Morgan, and Henry Box Brown. The transformation from sitcom princess to children's literature champion stands as one of the most quietly powerful arcs in the entire cast's post-show journey. Tatyana Ali, Ashley Banks. The bright-eyed youngest cousin who melted hearts as Ashley Banks was already a tiny veteran of show business when she joined the cast at just 11 years old. Tatyana Ali, born in Brooklyn in 1979 to a Panamanian mother and a Trinidadian father, had already appeared on Sesame Street and Star Search by age 6. Producers cast her partly because she could sing, and the writers eventually folded her musical gifts into the show, even letting Ashley pursue a singing career on screen. What few fans realize is that while filming the final seasons, Ali was simultaneously preparing for the most prestigious academic chapter of her life. After Bel-Air ended in 1996, she enrolled at Harvard University, graduating in 2002 with a bachelor's degree in African American Studies and Government. She balanced Ivy League coursework with a real-world music career, releasing her debut album, Kiss the Sky, in 1998, which featured production from Will Smith himself and was certified gold by the RIAA, selling over 500,000 copies. The single, Daydreamin', climbed to number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100. Post-Harvard, Ali never slowed down. She delivered a memorable multi-year arc on The Young and the Restless as Roxanne, earned a Daytime Emmy nomination, and starred in BET sitcoms including Second Generation Wayans. Politically active throughout her adult life, she campaigned heavily for Barack Obama in 2008 and remains a vocal advocate for arts education and voter engagement. Ali married Dr. Vaughn Raspberry, a Stanford University professor, in 2016. The couple welcomed 2 sons, Edward and Alejandro, and she frequently shares glimpses of motherhood on Instagram, where her loyal following exceeds 1 million. The sweet little girl audiences watched grow up on screen became an Ivy League graduate, gold-selling artist, and dedicated mother. Few child stars have navigated adulthood with such grace. Joseph Marcell, Geoffrey Butler. The dry-witted, impeccably proper British butler, whose sardonic one-liners stole countless scenes, was, in real life, exactly what his classical training suggested: a serious, dramatic artist with credentials most Hollywood actors would envy. Joseph Marcell was born on the Caribbean island of St. Lucia in 1948 and moved to South London as a young child. He trained at the prestigious British theatre system from an early age and built his career on the stages of the Royal Shakespeare Company long before Hollywood came calling. By the time he was cast as Geoffrey in 1990, Marcell had already performed in countless Shakespeare productions across the United Kingdom. American audiences saw the funny butler, but British theatergoers knew him as a serious classical performer. After Bel-Air wrapped in 1996, he returned home and continued building one of the most respected stage resumes in British theatre. He served on the board of directors at Shakespeare's Globe Theatre in London and toured internationally with productions of King Lear in 2013 and 2014, performing the demanding title role to standing ovations across multiple continents. His other stage credits include Much Ado About Nothing, The Tempest, Macbeth, and Julius Caesar. On television, Marcell appeared in The Bold and the Beautiful, EastEnders, Holby City, and the BBC crime drama Death in Paradise. He even reprised the spirit of Geoffrey in the 2022 Peacock reboot Bel-Air, appearing as a different butler character in a knowing wink to fans. Marcell has been widely praised by his castmates for his generosity and humor. Karen Parsons once said Geoffrey was always game for anything. Soft-spoken and gracious in interviews, Marcell embodies the paradox that defined his most famous role: a dignified man of the stage who happened to spend 6 years delivering some of the funniest deadpan insults in 1990s television history. DJ Jazzy Jeff, Geoffrey Townes. Jazz. Long before he was getting tossed out of the Banks mansion in increasingly ridiculous ways, Geoffrey Allen Townes was already a musical legend. Born in Philadelphia in 1965, he met a teenage Will Smith at a house party in 1985, and the two clicked instantly. By 1988, the duo DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince had won the very first Grammy Award ever presented for Best Rap Performance, taking home the trophy for Parents Just Don't Understand. Their album, He's the DJ, I'm the Rapper, sold over 3 million copies in the United States alone. When the sitcom launched in 1990, Townes joined the cast as Jazz, Will's lovable but perpetually unwelcome best friend, appearing in 47 episodes across all 6 seasons. The recurring gag of Uncle Phil hurling Jazz out the front door became one of the most quoted moments in 90s sitcom history. But while Jazz the character was a goofy slacker, Townes the artist was anything but. He continued producing groundbreaking music throughout the show's run and beyond, becoming one of the most respected hip-hop producers and DJs in the world. His 2002 solo album, The Magnificent, and 2007 follow-up, The Return of the Magnificent, earned massive critical acclaim. He played a pivotal role in launching the careers of Jill Scott and helped shape the early sound of The Roots. Townes has toured globally as a headlining DJ for decades, regularly performing over 100 shows annually, and his turntable skills remain widely regarded as among the finest in the genre. Most beautifully, his friendship with Will Smith never wavered. The two reunite frequently, perform together at festivals, and Townes was the first person Smith called for the 2020 HBO Max reunion. 40 years after meeting at that Philadelphia house party, their bond remains one of hip-hop's most enduring brotherhoods. Ross Bagley, Nikki Banks. The adorable toddler who joined the Banks family during season 4 was just 5 years old when he first stepped onto the Bel-Air set. Ross Bagley, born in Wisconsin in 1988, had already proven himself a precocious talent, having appeared in commercials before landing his breakout role. He portrayed Nikki Banks, the baby son of Philip and the newly recast Vivian, from 1994 through the series finale in 1996, appearing in 49 episodes. While most child actors fade into obscurity, Bagley managed to land a second iconic role almost immediately. He played Buckwheat, the lovable younger brother in the 1994 film The Little Rascals, which became a beloved family classic for an entire generation. 2 years later, he secured an even bigger part, Dylan Hiller, the young son of Will Smith's character Steve Hiller, in the 1996 summer blockbuster Independence Day. That meant, within a span of just 3 years, Bagley shared the screen with Will Smith in two of the biggest projects of the era. After his prolific childhood, Bagley made the rare choice to step away from Hollywood gradually rather than chase fame. He enrolled in college, earning a degree in cinema and television arts. He has returned to acting selectively, appearing in independent horror projects like No Malone, Dead Ringer, and various web series. In one of the most touching moments of the HBO Max reunion in November 2020, Bagley made a surprise appearance toward the end of the special. The grown cast was visibly moved seeing the once tiny Nikki now standing tall as a young man. They shared tears, reminiscing about filming the final episode that aired May 20th, 1996, when they had all wrapped together. His brief but emotional appearance reminded viewers that even the smallest Banks family member had quietly grown into adulthood right under their noses. Tyra Banks, Jackie Ames. Before she ruled supermodel runways and transformed reality television forever, Tyra Banks took an enormous gamble on a sitcom audition that almost went disastrously wrong. Born in Inglewood, California in 1973, she had already broken records as the first Black woman on the covers of GQ and Sports Illustrated Swimsuit Edition. But in 1993, at just 19 years old, she walked into the casting office for the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air with absolutely no acting experience. What she did next became Hollywood folklore. The casting breakdown described Jackie Ames as Will's ex-girlfriend from Philly who played basketball. Banks took the description literally. She showed up in baggy basketball shorts, an oversized t-shirt, and zero makeup, looking, in her own words, like a baller fresh from the neighborhood court. When she walked into the waiting room, every other actress sat in elegant little black dresses, full glam, and heels. Banks panicked, convinced she had completely misunderstood the assignment and was about to humiliate herself. That instinct, it turned out, was exactly what producers wanted. Her authentic, unpolished energy stood out so dramatically that she landed the role and appeared in 7 episodes across season 4, marking her television acting debut. Her chemistry with Smith was so electric that years later, in 2020, the two playfully recreated their old scenes during a virtual reunion that went viral. From that one risky audition, Banks built a media empire. She launched America's Next Top Model in 2003, hosted The Tyra Banks Show, founded Bankable Productions and Tyra Beauty Cosmetics, became a Harvard Business School alumna of an executive education program, and authored best-selling books, including Model Land. She has hosted Dancing with the Stars and remains one of the most influential Black entrepreneurs in entertainment. Don Cheadle, Ice Tray. In just one episode of Season 1, a young, almost unknown actor delivered a performance so magnetic that NBC actually attempted to spin him off into his own series. Donald Frank Cheadle, born in Kansas City in 1964 and raised across the American Midwest, appeared in the 1990 Fresh Prince episode Homeboy Sweet Homeboy as Ice Tray, one of Will's old friends from West Philadelphia. He was 26 years old and several years away from breaking into the A-list. The character was supposed to be a one-off, but producers were so blown away by his presence that they commissioned a pilot for a spin-off centered on Ice Tray. Cheadle reportedly even contributed to the theme song concept. The network ultimately passed, choosing not to greenlight the series, but the brief Bel-Air appearance planted seeds for what would soon become one of the most distinguished acting careers in modern Hollywood. Within years, Cheadle had transformed into a respected dramatic powerhouse. His breakout came in Devil in a Blue Dress alongside Denzel Washington in 1995. He followed with critically adored performances in Boogie Nights, Out of Sight, Traffic, and Steven Soderbergh's Ocean's 11 trilogy, where his Cockney-accented Basher Tar became a fan favorite. In 2004, he earned a Best Actor Academy Award nomination for his unforgettable role as Paul Rusesabagina in Hotel Rwanda, a performance widely considered one of the finest of the decade. He later joined the Marvel Cinematic Universe in 2010, replacing Terrence Howard as Colonel James Rhodes, also known as War Machine, beginning with Iron Man 2 and continuing through Avengers Endgame and the Disney Plus series Secret Invasion. Cheadle also won a Golden Globe for House of Lies and has earned multiple Emmy nominations. The Bel-Air spin-off may have never happened, but his career soared higher than anyone could have predicted. Queen Latifah, Marissa Redmond/Dee Williams. By the time Queen Latifah stepped onto the Fresh Prince soundstage, she was already a hip-hop revolutionary. Born Dana Elaine Owens in Newark, New Jersey in 1970, she had stormed the male-dominated rap industry with her debut album, All Hail the Queen, in 1989, which sold over 1 million copies. Her anthem, Ladies First, became a feminist landmark in hip-hop, and she carried that fearless presence into every acting opportunity that followed. Latifah appeared on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air twice in two completely different roles. In the Season 1 episode, Working It Out, she played Marissa Redmond, a haughty, overbearing actress who serves as Hillary's demanding boss. In the Season 2 episode, She Ain't Heavy, she portrayed Dee Williams, Will's blind date. The storyline tackled Will's superficial fear that his friends would mock him because Dee was plus-sized. The episode resolved with Will recognizing his shallowness and embracing her at a dance, delivering one of the show's most quietly progressive messages of the early 90s. Those guest spots were just the beginning. Latifah went on to anchor the sitcom Living Single from 1993 to 1998, earning a Golden Globe nomination. She then conquered cinema with an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress in the 2002 musical Chicago, in which she played the unforgettable matron Mama Morton. Her resume exploded with hits, including Bringing Down the House, Hairspray, Last Holiday, and the HBO biopic Bessie, which earned her an Emmy Award in 2015. She returned to television as the lead in CBS's reimagined The Equalizer, which premiered in 2021 and remains one of network television's highest-rated dramas. Latifah also lent her voice as narrator to Karen Parsons' Sweet Blackberry films. From two Fresh Prince cameos to becoming one of the most decorated black female entertainers in American history, her trajectory has been nothing short of royal. 6 seasons, 148 episodes, countless laughs, and one family that millions of us claimed as our own. Yet the real story behind the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was never written in any script. It lived in pain, forgiveness, brotherhood, and the kind of growth that takes decades to fully arrive. So now we want to hear from you. Was Will Smith truly to blame for Janet Hubert's lost career, or was she simply caught in an impossible situation? Could anyone have replaced the original Aunt Viv without controversy? Drop your honest opinion in the comments below. If this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe to Remembered Lives channel, where the legends you grew up with are never forgotten.